our own economic development plan is that you bleed 75% of your workforce every single day to that gravity well that is Salt Lake County. Those folks go, and I was unfamiliar with the term retail shrinkage, but it was your workforce shops in their shops, your workforce eats in their restaurants. So especially as we've kind of sit in the work session today and look at the difficult decisions you have to make with your own county employees, we're hoping that this will make that a little bit easier.
And Scott, can I just add to that? You know, you used a phrase there, retail shrinkage. I would add another phrase, market failure. That is exactly what, when you get into 75% of the individuals having to leave the county to find good employment opportunities, that is where we start talking about markets that are failing. So in terms of balance and being able to bring back a healthy perspective, you've got to have good paying jobs here in the county. That's a big part of where we see this going.
On page 5 of the plan and budget, there's a logistics analysis of the county, what opportunities we feel like are there in Tooele County. The budget is in Appendix D for the project area. We're looking at a current tax valuation of about $8 million. The taxing entities we project will see an additional $18.1 million, and it will leave, I didn't write it down, now I'm gonna have to turn to it, around $50 million, $54 million to be invested directly into the project area. We anticipate that being almost overwhelmingly in regional infrastructure that will help you and us as a partnership recruit top industries. We're hoping and we're targeting manufacturing in Tooele County, good jobs that will bring outside dollars for employees that are staying here, shopping in your shops, eating in your restaurants, paying their property taxes right here in Tooele County.
Question, any
Yes,
idea on what manufacturing you're going to focus?
Well, working with Mr. Welch, we've targeted manufacturing as an industry where if you have preferences, that's who we want to attract. Who you want us to work on, that's who we want to work on.
And I would add, because I think that's a really intuitive question, is what types of industries, what types of businesses are we actually trying to attract here? You've got some competitive advantages, and so we actually dug into the existing economic development strategy for the county to see the work that had been done there. We also looked at the counties where we think, the industries where we think you're going to have a competitive advantage. And as a third element to that, I would say one of your greatest features here is the Tooele Tech College. They are doing some amazing training programs. So how do we tie in with some of the infrastructure that's already been built and developed as well? When we can show that workforce, you have a much better, again, a competitive advantage to bring those companies actually here. So I would say aerospace, advanced materials manufacturing, I think EV and clean tech and green tech. I would also add biotech because I think you've got a good workforce here. One of the other things that I would say in terms of competitive advantage, your greatest asset, again, is back to what's leaving to Salt Lake every day. And I've had some conversations with people in Salt Lake who are like, no, don't do anything out there because you're going to be pulling away from our workforce. Guess what? That's exactly what we want to do. I mean, it's a better quality of life for Tooele citizens. It may start to pull some of those employees out of Salt Lake County. We're okay with that. That's less people on the roads, that's less congestion in the air, that's better quality of life for Tooele citizens. Overall, it's much more sustainable.
I'd like just very briefly, we've brought with us our environmental engineer, Simona Smith. She's done an assessment and also to talk a little bit about a new inland port wetlands policy that we've introduced. Mona?
So I just want to give a high-level summary of the wetlands policy that we've put together for the inland port. This policy is currently in its draft phase. I would encourage and welcome any feedback to help us make this as comprehensive of a wetlands policy as we can. In this policy, we've summarized federal regulations for wetland mitigation. We've also summarized statewide programs, procedures, and initiatives for assessing wetlands, for managing wetlands, and for wetland mitigation. And then finally, this policy currently proposes a requirement that project areas outside of the northwest quadrant with wetlands present in those project areas must dedicate 1% of the tax differential towards wetland mitigation for that project area. And then for the northwest quadrant project area, it proposes that we use funds outlined in the interlocal agreement with Salt Lake City dedicated for mitigation towards wetland mitigation as seen fit by the board and Salt Lake City.
Wonderful.
And I will note, we're looking at tweaking that language a little bit, so 1% will be the floor. So that'll be the minimum, and then working with the county council, we'll determine the right amount with our board as well and make sure that we're doing everything we can. We want to be able to provide predominantly back into the economy, but we do also want to help provide funding back into to protect the wetlands and to protect the lake, quite frankly. And so we will have just a couple of tweaks we'll probably make as we get closer to the adoption of that policy.
Wonderful. And Councilman Wardle, did you have comments?
I did. You know, as you guys adopted this policy and it came out and you put out the statement last week, that addresses some of the many concerns that our citizens in this valley have had and that those in the environmental community have had. So first of all, thank you for listening. But secondly, thank you for being proactive in drafting a policy that is not only sustainable, but will assist in the other part, which is development. So thank you.
I would just add, Councilman Wardle, that our goal isn't to just minimize damage, but actually enhance those wetlands to make it a better resource for your area. We've created within the last couple of months the Golden Spike Project area up in Box Elder County, and it's not right next door, but it's not far from the bird refuge, which is a community asset. It's a big deal. The banner across Main Street says home of Utah's bird refuge. It's very important to the community. We want to be part of that effort, and we think, especially in this project area, it's very appropriate.
And if I could just clarify, we did present this draft policy at our last board meeting for consideration, and the board will be voting to approve that policy at our next board meeting on November 6th.
Right here.
Which will be
Right
here in Tooele County, where they will also be voting to approve these project area plans, so.
Wonderful.
That
Wonderful, thank you.
concludes our prepared remarks. We're happy to answer any questions you have them. I will be remaining just in case there are public comments at your general session.
Just one question.
Yes, sir.
November 6th meeting, where's that meeting gonna be held?
Right here in Tooele
Right
County,
here in-
right here in this room.
In the council room. Yeah.
Okay. What day of the week is that? Is that a Tuesday?
Tuesday.
That's our Tuesday night meeting?
What time is it at?
It might be a Monday.
I didn't know there were gonna be hard calendar questions or math in this meeting.
November 6th is a Monday, and it is 2 p.m. And we would love for the county council to be at that meeting, so we will have an invitation forthcoming, but we would definitely love to have you there. One of the other things I was gonna say, just in conclusion, when we were here last time, a couple of the things we heard, one, we wanted us in front of the COG. And so we did the COG presentation in June. I will say I was not able to be there, I was on the governor's trade mission. But what I heard positives were generally positive.
I went as the B team and I did my best.
18. We also have been meeting weekly with the county and other interested parties just to make sure that we're hearing and trying to incorporate everything into the project area plan and budget. If there's anything further the county council would like us to do between now and November 6th, we will be meeting in Grantsville with their city council because they have a project area as well. So we'll be meeting in their city council with their city council next week, but we're happy to do anything else that the county council would like us to do to help prepare for the meeting on the 6th.
I also would add that this is a 25-year relationship, and our best projections, our best efforts to anticipate what the needs be or we know going to fall short. This is an evergreen document. We anticipate that this will be modified, enhanced, improved, clarified throughout the lifespan of the project area. And if it's administrative or informational, that's great. We'll just make the amendment. If it's something of substance, we put it before our board for a 2-meeting cycle, and we'll get this thing updated to be like it needs to be.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any questions, council? Scott?
Thank you.
Andy?
No, just say that they've been really great to work with. We get together most Fridays when I'm available, but we do get together and discuss the issues and kind of where we're at. So we're having a very good dialogue together, talking through the issues to make sure we're getting to where we need to be. So I appreciate all of their help in working through that with us.
Yeah.
And I would just say thank you for hearing us. Sometimes you listen, but do you hear? And you did. So thank you for that.
Hey, just one follow-up question is, as all these little small inland ports come on, like Tooele and Grantsville and, you know, whoever knows else close by, are they competing for the same market?
Yeah, they are, and this is something that I think when it comes to bringing projects to Tooele, Tooele is gonna have a natural advantage. The question is, you know, if there's a project that comes into the state, are two potential project areas gonna compete against each other? To answer your question directly, the answer is yes, and this is something that we absolutely knew was going to happen. We want the state to put its best foot forward. We want to help every community put its best foot forward. I think in terms of creating the right, not just presentation, but the right net to catch the right kind of jobs, those are always in competition. My concern, and it's been like this for several years when I worked at the governor's office trying to recruit businesses here, Utah was not putting its best foot forward for industrial projects. And I feel like now Tooele County is going to be much better represented and much better able to compete for those projects than what it was before. That means that there'll probably be a few other sites that are probably better able to compete. But the reality is we've been losing a lot of these manufacturing projects out of the state simply because it's an awareness gap. These people don't know about these sites that are here. So the more we can put these sites in front of the right companies, the better opportunity that we have to land them. But it's going to create for more sophisticated marketing opportunity, not just for Tooele, for other sites and parts of the state as well. But we want to make sure that we're helping Tooele County put its best foot forward. But yeah, there will be some inherent competition.
One of the euphemisms we have that we've developed relatively quickly under the Hart administration is if you've seen one project area, you've seen one project area. You all have very unique profiles and footprints and needs and wants. We have recently entered into a partnership with EDC Utah where we are funding an employee who only recruits into port project areas, and we're bringing that to bear here for Tooele County. It was a wee bit awkward last week in Beaver County where Grantsville, which will create the same day, was in the top 5 to land Lakeshore Learning in recruitment, which was 500 jobs of a distribution facility. And Garland, Utah got that. Garland, Utah beat Grantsville because, with a little community of 3,000 people, because of the power of the financial tools the Inland Port Authority brings to bear. Now, Grantsville's the next one. Sorry, Mayor, you lost that one, but Jesse Wilson said, we're not going to lose the next one. So while there certainly is some inherent competition, you will have a very, very competitive package to allure top manufacturers to your community. We feel very good about making that happen.
Yeah.
And let me just say this, during the pandemic, one of the things that really got me fired up about the port was I saw about 80 manufacturing projects that were looking at the state of Utah and passed us over. And I'm looking at 80 real companies that said, look, we're just not coming to the state of Utah. And the simple reality was because they didn't know these sites existed. We've got to get over that awareness gap, and I think that's a big part of what this is as well. Because these were good jobs. We're seeing the total global economy in recalibration right now as people are outsourcing out of China. And so there's very real opportunities, near and reshoring opportunities, but not if they don't know about these sites. And so we've got to do a better job putting our better foot forward.
And I think we have some natural advantages, I guess, versus some others. Once we get rail reestablished, which is Grantsville's is on rail, this one would be on rail. We have I-80. When we do the Mid-Valley Highway, we just have a lot of things as we're doing these projects that will feed right into these project areas. So
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you so much. for
Thank
making
you.
Time out.
So I guess some of you will be excusing yourself. Is that correct now? That is.
Thank you.
That would
Yes.
be fine. So thank you for coming. You'll just stick around. Thank you.
Bring up line item transfers. Brings up our auditor, Alice McCoy.
Okay, council, we have one line item adjustment for you and one budget adjustment. The first one is for the clerk's office. Typically, this isn't one that we would bring before you because it's technically staying within the same department, but elections and the clerk's office are separate departments in our budget. So we're gonna be transferring $6,537 between those departments for some election equipment. And then are you okay if I go to the budget
And
adjustment?
50 cents.
And 50 cents, I'm sorry, you're right. And then we will be moving $15,000 into operating supplies in the tourism budget for a new brand launch that we'll be doing soon, so.
A new what?
A new swag, brand lunch.
When is that party?
November 9th.
Love
Put
an,
it on your calendar.
love an invitation.
That was part of it. They are gonna be presenting to us on the 24th as well, honey.
November 9th?
Yes, up Deseret Peak.
What
We
time?
will feed you too.
What time?
Cookies. Like I said, we're gonna feed them.
Oh, jeez.
Refreshments will be available.
It's the day before my birthday. I want a birthday
It's gonna
cake
be a
there.
7-course gourmet meal.
Hey, State
I'm
Street
kidding.
Partners used to furnish a nice dinner.
Well, the gauntlet's been put down. We better move on before it gets too bad.
Wow.
Okay, so $15,000 moved in,
And that was presented to the TRT board, yeah. So,
any other questions or comments, council?
I didn't catch a date. Are you gonna send out an invite?
November 9th,
Desert Peak.
Desert Peak,
At
at
what
what
time?
time? I don't know.
For a special announcement at 6.
Okay, so we'll just get an invite, so I won't count it,
We're
okay.
designing it right
good things are in the works, Kendall. Be patient.
Hey, I can't wait to get dinner.
now. I had to have money to make the invite.
You had to have money to
I
make
tell
it.
you, I think we need just a moment of silence to regroup. I just feel like Cam Rising's not starting this week. That announcement just hit me again.
Do you want me to go on?
Yes,
Danny?
please, go on.
Okay, all right, council, item 5B, we're here to finalize the sale of the surplus property on Main and Vine. We are selling the properties to GSB Investments LLC for $1.5 million. The properties are ready to go and we have received their funds, and so this will be the final step in that process, so.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any other questions or comments on that? And then we have down here, juvenile court legal defender. Keep me righteous, is that our next one?
Correct.
Yes, just last week you approved a contract for Michelle Robinson, and before she could even sign the contract, she got another job. So, we are supplanting Michelle's contract, sending it over to Linares Law Office. So,
Okay,
that's all. That's basically,
any other questions or comments?
so basically, we're going to, like, you approved a contract last meeting. We are not going to execute that contract.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome. Anything else, council?
I have one discussion item I need to bring up with this real quick. That is, and I know that it would go under appointments, but I wanted you to know that Chris Stewart was appointed to a board that deals with the defense industry last week. We have a seat as an ex officio member on that board that we have not filled, and has been filled by a former commissioner for the last 2.5 years. And so I'll be presenting in the next meeting a name to go forward on that. I've been in contact with their people. And so I wanted to make sure that if you have any questions about that, I've got the emails, we can bring that forward.
Okay. Wonderful. Then, council, we have 30 minutes. We need to go into a closed session and seek a motion to go into a closed session. We have some, talk about some sale of real property and the purpose of discussing, information that is prudent on this process. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Hear a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. We're in a closed session.